Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's inability to manage the intra-party power conflict within the ruling Nepal Communist Party has rendered the government's work ineffective. Top brass leaders have rather engaged themselves in party politics, leaving government responsibilities neglected, while majority of the public have been struggling amid the COVID-19 battered economy. There is a call on the government leadership to prioritize issues of the nation over party issues in this recent time. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. Ruling NCP Secretariat meeting adjourned until Saturday after Chairman Oli absent in yesterday's meeting. Internal dispute within the ruling party creates chaos in government priorities. The secondary education examination uncertain this year amid the looming health crisis due to COVID-19 and the government's indecision. Iran moves to stop UN inspections of its nuclear sites, steps up uranium enrichment under a new law approved by its parliament. And Borussia Dortmund advanced to the knockout round of the Champions League after holding Lazio to a 1-1 draw. PSG defeat Manchester United 3-1. The Secretariat meeting of the ruling Nepal Communist Party has been adjourned for Saturday following party chairman and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's absence. The Premier had asked to push the meeting schedule for yesterday by an hour, however did not attend it even in the delayed time. The meeting lasted for about 20 minutes and was then adjourned for Saturday. Analysts have opined the Premier's absence as suggestive of a party split. Party spokesperson Naren Kaji Shrestha said that the party had reached a serious stage and emphasized on the importance of the Premier's presence at the Secretariat meeting. The short meeting held in the absence of the Premier was chaired by Executive Chairman Pushpakamal Dahal. The meeting decided to defer the Standing Committee meeting scheduled for 3rd of December to the 6th. Earlier on Tuesday, Premier Oli had demanded the Secretariat meeting be adjourned after the two chairmen exchanged heated argument. However, Dahal had insisted that the Secretariat meeting could not be pushed any further. Sources say the Premier was unwilling to attend the meeting yesterday and that several leaders close to him had tried to convince him, but to no avail. Power conflict has turned the dynamics between the two chairmen sour in recent time. Sources also say the Premier has urged for an off-the-record settlement, having been cornered within his own party. Premier Oli has demanded Executive Chairman Dahal to retract his report full of allegations against him and suggested some introspection on Dahal's part was needed. Meanwhile, Dahal has maintained that the party should discuss on the Premier's modus operandi and seek for a solution to the escalating problems within the ruling party. Now, Nepal Communist Party has been mired in intra-party disputes for 8 months now. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and leaders of his factions have expedited meetings and activities to strengthen their hold within the party, which critics have said has directly affected the government's performance.
Apart from leading the government, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli also heads the ruling Nepal Communist Party. The party's topmost unit, the party secretariat, comprises of top brass leaders of Nepal Communist Party, including former Defense Minister Ishwar Pokhrel, Home Minister Rambahadur Thapa, and Finance Minister Vishnu Paudel. All these leaders have been busying themselves in inter-party politics, neglecting government responsibility in the past 8 months. These leaders seem to be least affected by the ongoing coronavirus crisis, the economic downturn the pandemic has brought about, the miserable state that the public have been going through, unemployment, among others. The government has failed to introduce any concrete plans to tackle the persisting problems.
पार्टीको कारणले सरकार सञ्चालनमा गाह्रो पर्यो भन्यो भने सरकारमा जाने मान्छेले पार्टीको तत्त्व जिम्मेवारीबाट मुक्त हुनु पर्यो। एक्जिक्युटिभ पार्टीको एक्जिक्युटिभ कामको जिम्मा लिनु भएन। हामीले डे 1 देखि उठाएको विषय यही हो कि एक व्यक्ति एक पदको अवधारणा लागू गरौँ, पार्टीमा काम गर्नेले पार्टीलाई काम गर्न दिउँ। हामीले 2 वर्षमा गर्ने भनेको महाधिवेशन 3 वर्ष भइसक्यो। 71 सालमा निर्वाचित हुनुभएको कमरेड केपी ओली 7 वर्ष अध्यक्ष भइरहनु भएको छ। अझै उहाँले चाहिँ दावा नै गरिरहनु भएको छ कि म निर्वाचित हुँ भनेर। उहाँसँगै हामी पनि निर्वाचित भएर आएको, सबैभन्दा धेरै भोट ल्याएर आएको केन्द्रीय सदस्य हो। हामीहरुका बारेमा हिसाबै छैन उहाँलाई।
It may be recalled that Prime Minister Oli, during the Secretariat meeting, had stated that the government had failed to live up to the people's expectations because of the disputes within the ruling party. However, critics have opined the Premier's statement only depicts his own inability to lead the government.
बेरोजगार मान्छेहरू हजारौंको संख्यामा निस्केका छन् र थुप्रै ससाना व्यवसायीहरू डुब्ने स्थितिमा छन्, मझौला व्यवसायी पनि डुब्ने स्थितिमा छन्। त्यो कुरामा केन्द्रित हुनु पर्थ्यो सरकारको यतिखेरको ध्यान। तर सरकार त्यो ध्यान त्यतातिर केन्द्रित गर्नुको सट्टामा चाहिँ सबै कुरा ठिकठाक छ, जीडीपी पनि राम्रै छ, शोधनान्तर बचत पनि राम्रै छ, सबै कुरा राम्रो छ, जे चलिएको छ राम्रै चलिएको छ। यो सरकारको लोकप्रियताबाट अत्तालिएका मान्छेहरू कराएका हुन् भन्ने ढङ्गले सरकार चाहिँ आफ्नो प्रायोरिटीलाई मिस गरिरहेको देखिन्छ।
Amid the rising threat of novel coronavirus, the government had implemented a nationwide lockdown since the third week of March. However, instead of diverting all expertise and resources on tackling the pandemic, almost a month after the lockdown, the Premier put forth an ordinance for political party division. Since then, dispute within the ruling Nepal Communist Party and the coronavirus crisis in the country have both escalated with each passing day. The Premier, meanwhile, has seemed unbothered by the country's state of chaos.
$1,490 new coronavirus cases were reported in the country in the past 24 hours, including 723 in the Kathmandu Valley alone. Almost half of the 8,300 individuals tested through the PCR method in the past 24 hours were from the federal capital. This takes the total number of COVID-19 cases in the country so far to 236,246. 9 more people, including 8 from the valley, succumbed to the virus, taking the death toll to 1,538. According to the Health Ministry, there are 16,547 active cases in the country. At the moment, 365 COVID-19 patients are in ICUs and 64 are in ventilator support. 10,741 are in home isolation. Meanwhile, 1,567 patients registered full recovery, taking the total number of recoveries to 218,161. The secondary education examination this year that concerns around 500,000 students is uncertain amid the looming health crisis due to COVID-19 and the government's indecision.
There are 134 students in Adarsa Secondary School in Sanutimi, Bhaktapur, 50% of whom have been out of touch with the school since March. These students have not attended the school's online classes since the lockdown began, which has left the school wondering how to proceed with their evaluation.
हाम्रो शैक्षिक क्षेत्रको सबभन्दा ठुलो चिन्ता भनेको यही हो के विद्यार्थीहरू अब अनलाइन क्लास सञ्चालन नगरौं त्यो पनि भएको छैन सञ्चालन गरौं सबै समेट्न सकिएको अवस्था पनि छैन जो बाहिर छन् नि सर अनलाइनबाट बाहिर छन् तिनीहरूको त एउटा ठुलो चिन्ता नै हो हामी पनि त्यसमा एकदम चिन्तित छौं अब के गर्ने भन्ने कुरामा हामी पनि एकदमै दुविधामा छौं.
The scenario is similar with majority of the 6,500 community schools across the country and even private schools where 35% of the students have not attended the online classes. Meanwhile, this year's Secondary Education Examination SEE has also been uncertain as the National Examination Board has yet to make a decision. In previous years, students were required to fill up exam forms around August and the board printed question papers in November. However, both the tasks have not been carried out yet.
र कक्षा 10 को अब कसरी जाने हो हामी विद्यालयबाट परीक्षा सञ्चालन गरी जाने वा प्रदेश स्तरमा सञ्चालन गरी जाने वा हामी संघीय स्तरमा नै राष्ट्रिय परीक्षा बोर्ड परीक्षा निर्धारण कार्यालय कक्षा 10 ले नै परीक्षा लिने यो कुरोमा निर्क्युल हुनुपर्ने अवस्था छ त्यो निर्क्युल नभएको कारणले हामी अलिकति पछाडी परेका छौं छलफल गरिरहेको छ त्यहाँबाट निर्णय भएपछि मात्रै हामी यो वर्षको सी परीक्षा कसरी सञ्चालन हुन्छ भनेर भन्न सक्छौं.
Around 482,000 students from 10,419 schools had applied for SEE last year. As the coronavirus pandemic affected the examinations, these students were given SEE certificates based on internal evaluations. Both the National Examination Board and the Education Ministry have continued with their uncertainty regarding the new batch this time around.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals in Biratnagar how disabled-friendly are the roads, huge buildings, schools, government offices and hospitals in the city. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
सरकारी निकायहरू छन् हैन कार्यालयहरू कुनै पनि व्हीलचेयर मैत्री छैनन् के अब कहिलेकाहीँ हामीहरू त्यस्तो जानु पर्यो भनेदेखि बाहिरबाट अर्काकै चाहिँ सहारामा चाहिँ अब हरेक कामहरू गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ
त्यत्रो भवन बनाएको छ खोइ त अपाङ्गको लागि खोइ त बनाउनुपर्ने चाहिँ भन्ने त चेतना छैन नि त
धेरै ठाउँमा हामीले अपाङ्ग मैत्री भौतिक संरचनाहरू पाएका छैनौँ अब त हिजोकै संरचनाहरू भएर होला
अपाङ्ग मैत्री र्याम चाहिँ सरकारले एकदम निगरानी साथ हेर्न आवश्यक छ जरुरी छ
सानसानो कुराहरू जस्तो कि सपिङ कम्प्लेक्स भयो सिनेमा हल भयो अब योहरू अलिकति एक्सेसिबल हुनु पर्यो होइन नियममा छ तर कार्यमा चाहिँ आएको छ
हस्पिटलहरूमा त यो सुविधा पाइन्छ
यस्तो सिँढीहरूमा व्हीलचेयर चढाउन गाह्रो हुन्छ
टोयलेटको पनि सहज वातावरण छैन
पनि सरकारी संस्थामा जानु पर्यो नि माथि हुन्छ अफिस है तलबाट हामीले बोलाउनु एउटा मान्छे पठाउनुपर्ने हुन्छ या त उहाँले तल आउनुपर्ने हुन्छ हामीले जान गाह्रो छ धेरै गाह्रो छ हाम्रो व्हीलचेयर मैत्री हुँदैन
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, why has the concerned authority not taken any decision regarding the secondary education examination? Your options are A, impact of COVID-19 pandemic, B, unclear policies, and C, not in priority. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.